It is with great emotion that we're reaching the last episode of Season 1, Pardon My Parisian, of Cast. I'll be recording a separate outro of the season, but I just wanted to share with you this info as of now, and thank you for listening to me and following my podcast. Bonjour Penguins, and welcome to Cast, the show that dives you into the world as I see it. I'm Patrick, your host, and today we're taking a bite into French and Parisian cuisine, from the cafés and bakeries to the hidden quirks of daily eating habits. Home of croissants, crème brûlée, and Michelin stars, let's see how Paris and Parisians approach food in their everyday life. Spoiler alert, it's not just fancy dining and sophisticated pastries. Stay tuned. Bonjour, and welcome to episode 19, the last one, unfortunately, of season 1, Pardon My Parisian, of my podcast. And today, we welcome a new guest. This is your first time. Marine, how are you?
Hello, Patrick. I'm super good. Thank you very much.
Oh, on the other hand, we have a very regular other guest, Louis.
Hello, everybody.
This podcast is divided into 3 segments. The first one is a Parisian food scene, where we're going to explain how the food and the cuisine, international ones or French ones, are distributed within the city of Paris. We also have another segment that is focusing on the daily habits of Parisians. And this is a very interesting segment because you will really know how Parisians deal and approach food. And last but not least, we're going to talk about trends, vegan trends, fast food trends. So we're going to discuss all of this, and we're going to start with the first one, which is Parisian food scene. The first question that comes to my mind is, when we talk about food in Paris, what would really a typical Parisian dish look like? And which one is our favorite? Let's start by one of the dishes that is internationally known, and it's actually a starter, the onion soup.
You know, I'm working in the center of Paris, and I see a lot of restaurants with a lot of tourists. And each time on each table, I can guarantee you that mostly all the Americans, they are always taking an onion soup in Paris. It's a very classical.
Oh yeah, well then this confirms the theory. I love it as well. What else do you think is very Parisian and you like it?
When I'm thinking about Parisian cuisine, I also think about something which also can be a starter, croque monsieur, you know. So slices of bread, jam, cheese inside. So you can find it everywhere in all the brasseries at any time of the day and the night.
Oh, okay. Croque monsieur, there's also another version of it called croque madame. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I think it's with an egg.
Yeah.
If I'm correct. Yes, very good.
I don't know if it's still with ham. It is still with ham, right? It's ham, cheese, and they just add an egg on top of it?
Yes.
Okay. So, croque monsieur...
Not enough fat, you know, so they add something else, an egg.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
but that's excellent.
Yeah, I love it too. It's also very simple to do, and it can be considered as some sort of a French Parisian fast food, because it's still, you know, Parisian, but it's still somehow a fast food, even though we know that the concept of fast food doesn't really exist in France, correct?
Yes, and usually you take it with a little bit of salad, which is coming with the croque monsieur. You can have the version with French fries if you want more, let's say, but usually it's with salad.
Okay, well then, good. The croque monsieur itself is not healthy at all, but then you add a little bit of salad next to it, and then you feel like it's okay.
It's good for the mind.
It's good for the mind. What about a third suggestion? We were talking earlier about something called hachis parmentier.
Yes, this one is not a starter at all. It's really a main dish.
Yeah.
And actually, it's, I would say, a layer of beef, grounded beef. And on top of that, you have also a big layer of mashed potato. Usually, you take it during winter because, I mean, when you take it after that, you are done for the rest of the day.
It is a rich plate, yeah.
Yes, but that's really excellent. Very simple. You can also cook it at home. So very Parisian, very French also, and very traditional.
Good. We haven't planned it in the program, but we cannot talk about starters and a dish without talking about a dessert. I don't know if you have a dessert like that on top of your mind. The Paris-Brest is Parisian?
Yes, so I don't know the exact history of the Paris-Brest. I think it's it's coming from Paris.
Yeah, okay. Well then, Paris-Brest, it's really good. All of these traditional Parisian food, as I said earlier, we can find them in bistros and brasseries. Therefore, there is a place in Paris, Louis, that is very famous. Can you talk to us about it?
Yeah, so it's not a unique place. It's like several places in Paris that are called bouillon. And so these places are like a type of bistro with a big line outside. Everything is very cheap inside, but you have only like French typical plates. So if you want to try a little bit of everything that is a specialty in France, you should definitely check out Bouillon, because you can taste kind of everything. You could take like almost everything on the card, on the menu, and taste everything, and everything is so cheap in the end. So this is like definitely a recommendation.
It is a very affordable chain of restaurants, correct?
And another interesting fact about these is that most of them are like very old restaurants. So, for instance, there is one which is like in the Montparnasse district. This one is one of the first ones, if not the first one, actually. And it's interesting to go there because the architecture inside is very beautiful. Like it's all
because it's an old one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all Art Nouveau. So typically Parisian Art Nouveau from the 19th century, you know. So and all of them in Paris are like have a very interesting architecture, and most of the time Art Nouveau.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then you can go to enjoy the food, but also enjoy the location and the restaurant itself, because sometimes you can end up in a very nice restaurant when it comes to the decoration and the building itself, because it's old. Okay, well,
yes.
Good to know. Thank you. So Bouillon, you can find it pretty much everywhere in Paris. They have a lot of different branches, and it's extremely affordable. Now, obviously, there are things that are affordable, but you have also a lot of restaurants that are Michelin star restaurants, just like the restaurant of Gabriel and Emily in Paris, where he wanted to have a Michelin star, but he couldn't because the auditor was a fraud. But
by the way, do I have to remind our listeners and maybe you, Patrick, that we had lunch there?
Yes. And for that matter, if you want to see the restaurant, you can go and check episode 17, Pardon My Cinema, because we recorded it live from the Place de l'Estrapade, where Emily Cooper lives and where Chef Gabriel owns the restaurant. So check it out, episode 17. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, great. Now, let's move to segment 2, which is how Parisians approach food and what are our daily habits. So first of all, I wanted to start with the worldwide famous croissant. And I will pronounce it like Tasha pronounced it, croissant, because she's from America and she pronounces it this way.
Croissant.
She's gonna kill me. The real pronunciation is croissant, and I've been telling her this since I know her. It means since 10 years ago. Do you guys eat croissant every day? Like all my international friends ask me, and I'm going to ask it to you, and I'm going to respond as well. So what about you, Marine, first?
But I am French, so I love croissant. But we also have a reason, I mean, even if I would like to eat croissant every day, I can't, because it's very fat. So actually, if you eat croissant every day, you are going to become bigger and bigger. So that's the main problem. So you need to
balance. Yeah,
to balance and to be kind of reasonable, and to wait special occasion to say, oh yes, today I'm buying a croissant, and it's fine,
Yeah. So what about you, Louis?
It's interesting because I've never actually liked croissant. I was more of a pain au chocolat person.
Okay, well, okay, it's okay.
So since I've been a kid, so especially the smell, I think is way better for the pain au chocolat than for the croissant. But I can give like a recommendation for our listeners, is that if you want to eat a croissant, you could you can buy some Nutella and you put some Nutella in it. And when it's very warm, it's like the best snack ever. So there is actually like a vegan bakeries. You can actually buy vegan croissants and vegan pain au chocolat there.
Oh,
and
wow.
everything else.
Wow.
And this is called Land and Monkeys.
Land and Monkeys. So for you, that you're vegan, right? So for you, it's a good alternative.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about vegan in the last segment, but yeah, good point here.
And just, Patrick,
Yeah,
if I
sure.
can add a recommendation, because I love croissant for sure, but my favorite one is not croissant. Personally, I prefer pain en raisin. So it's a kind of a spiral shape, with fruit on top of the surface. So personally, this one is my favorite.
I love it too. Pain au raisin is really good.
I saw a trend in Paris on social media recently. I think it's mostly for Instagram and TikTok and a lot of tourists. We see more and more like giant croissant or giant pain au chocolat, these kind of things. And there is something which is important for us in Paris and in France. It's the size of croissant, pain au chocolat. I mean, what we call viennoiserie. Because when we buy this viennoiserie, there is a size that we like, and this giant croissant and so on, we don't really like them, to be fully honest. It's already something for tourists, and as Parisian, we never buy these kind of things. So it's just to clarify, because I think it's a trend on Instagram and TikTok, and
Thank
just
you
wanted
so
to...
much.
Can I say something about this?
Yeah.
So Marine, yes, very good point. Because
Yes,
actually
very good
yesterday
point.
I saw like
An
a
influencer.
cafe.
Oh, okay.
A cafe, no. A cafe. I saw this big croissant on a table with a small coffee besides it.
It's horrible.
Sorry.
And I was
Ridiculous.
like, wow, it's the first time that I see that,
It's horrible.
And I was like, wow. And now I have the answer.
Yeah.
Because you
So it's a
told us
social
that
media
it's for the
trend.
social media.
Yeah, I'm sure about it, yes. At least I discovered it on Instagram, so...
Yeah, you're right. Good point. Okay, well then, do not encourage this. Okay, while talking about croissant, well, the croissant comes from somewhere, right? What is it named? It's named boulangerie, or in English, bakery. So,
Boulangerie.
Boulangerie. Boulangerie.
T'es pas obligé de tout mettre, hein. Non, mais attends, t'es pas obligé de tout mettre, hein. Tu pourras couper certains trucs, hein, parce que des fois, c'est un peu la honte, hein.
It's okay. My American listeners love me because they are 24% now. We're increasing, right? So, yeah. So
Americans in the house.
So, why boulangeries or bakeries are a daily stop for many Parisians? That's the question. So, is it a daily stop for you?
But it is not, personally, because I have my favorite bakery, and it's not so close to where I'm living. So usually I'm doing one stop per week, and I buy everything that I need, and then I put it in the freezer at home to cover all the week.
But if the bakery is close to you...
But if it's close to me, I don't think that I would go every day, but for sure I would go several times per week, for sure.
Okay. What about you, Louis?
So actually, it's funny because when I was younger, I know that my parents or my mother, or my brother, or even I, would buy like our everyday baguettes, at the boulangerie. And so always French baguettes, of course. So we would go actually every day. But now that I live by myself, I don't.
Yeah.
Except sometimes I go to the vegan bakery that I told you about just to get like a vegan sandwich, a jambon beurre, which is ham and cheese. So a typical Parisian recipe for a sandwich, but vegan style. So sometimes I just go there, if I want like a sandwich that tastes not like, not like vegan sandwiches, because vegan sandwiches can be kind of boring. Yeah. And then I go there sometimes, maybe once every 2 weeks.
Okay,
not every day.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but I think...
but a lot of Parisians do,
yeah,
right?
the majority of Parisian, and not only Parisian, I mean, all French people, you stop nearly every day because no baguettes or no bread on the table when you have lunch or dinner, it's not possible for us.
Yes. Bread is
complicated.
Exactly. Bread plays a major role in France on the table. So, and the baguette is not something that you can keep for the next day. This is very important because it's really fresh and it has all fresh ingredients. So you cannot just keep it and eat it tomorrow or the next day because it will be hard and it won't be nice to eat. So that's why there's, that frequent, it's that frequent to go by the bakery in Paris and in France in general.
So what our listeners should know, if they don't know yet, is that baguettes are just so good, especially when they come out of the oven.
Right.
When you buy them in the morning, they are like very warm, So
A smell.
like, so you can put your butter in the morning, or your Nutella, or your
Or just nothing, just like
or
this.
just even nothing.
Sometimes people buy the baguette, and before they even reach home, the baguette is already half
that's true.
eaten on the way.
It's not a legend.
Yes, because it's so good. So you gotta buy 2 baguettes.
Exactly.
But what
You have
is
to buy 2,
awesome-
one for the road and one for the main purpose of it.
Exactly. And also, what our listeners should know is that they're very cheap.
Yeah.
They are between €1 and €2. So they are very cheap. So if, like, for instance, you only have pasta to eat for dinner, you can just add a baguette with it, and like your meal will be like on a different level, you know?
Right. So,
Because you can eat everything. Like the bread, it goes with everything. With something sweet or something salty, it goes very well.
True.
So
Yes.
True. Okay, well then, is it true that Parisians always walk around the city with baguettes? The cliche of what the movies and the TV shows want to make it look like?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
At some point, but if you imagine, the cliche with the baguette, our French beret, which is a kind of a traditional hat with blue,
blue
white,
stripes,
and the red jacket. No, forget about it, because it's not at this level for sure. This is for movies. But yes, you will see a lot of people in the streets with their baguette for sure, because as the majority is going to the bakeries almost every day, for sure you will see a lot of people with their baguette.
The beret and the blue and white stripes, like the one I'm wearing, are kind of too much. But the baguette is not a cliche. The baguette, when you come to Paris, you will see it. If you're a tourist, you will see it. You will take a picture of this Parisian and you will post it on your Instagram, because it does exist, and you will be very happy to see it live. So be prepared for that. Okay, great. Now that we talked about the main 2 things, croissant and baguette, we can move forward and talk about the third main thing. When we say France, when we say Paris, we say baguette, croissant, and cheese, right? Do you like cheese?
Yes.
Yes,
a lot.
I love cheese.
Where
do you buy your cheese from?
I prefer eating cheese when we are several, around the table. Just for myself, I don't feel that I want to buy cheese, even if I really love cheese, for sure.
I agree. And because our cheese is not like in other countries where you can buy string cheese or processed cheese or things that are really by the portion, by the unit, on the go, etc. We don't really have that kind of habit. So our cheese is mainly really good, elaborated, sophisticated cheese. So it's not made for every day or every single moment of the day. Even though I sometimes cheat, because I have good cheese pretty much all the time in my fridge.
I think you can eat cheese every day. I know my family,
which is my case.
We all know a lot of persons, they are buying cheese, and when I'm coming back home to my parents, for example, there is a cheese at each for each dinner, lunch, and so on. It's just that I think it's better when you are with your family or your friends to eat cheese. Just alone, sometimes
well, I'm not going to ask you, Louis, because cheese is not in your diet since you're vegan, correct?
Yes, but there is vegan cheese. There is actually like a vegan cheese store in Paris. I don't remember the name, but you can buy like all kinds of
But are they good stuff? The ingredient is good, or is it so processed that it makes it even worse?
It's good. It's good. These are not made out of extraordinary
because sometimes you have starch and you have I don't know how many kinds of oils and things like that are not really good for your health.
Are you kidding me? Cheese is not very good for your health. Huh?
At least it's good ingredients. We're not eating things that have zero nutritional interest. Sometimes vegan cheese has zero nutritional interest. However, real cheese, it might be fat for sure, but at least it has protein, it's dairy, and even sometimes you need fat in your body. So yeah, you'll be eating really the real thing and the real ingredients. So obviously, if you eat it too much, it's not good for your health, but it's not over-processed ingredients. That's what I'm trying to say.
Just wanted to add that in France, we have more than 1,000 variety different cheese. Cheese is quite huge. I think we are the country where there are the most cheese in the world.
Yeah, I agree. Beating Italy, by the way. So Emily in Rome doesn't really
and each
make
region
sense.
has its own cheese,
What is it?
In France, each region has its
exactly.
own.
That's why that we have so many. Do you think is there any kind of cheese coming from around Paris?
Yes, you have Brie de Meaux.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Meaux we know it is.
Meaux is a city at the east of Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Most probably some others for sure, but Brie de Meaux, I think it's one of the most famous cheese in France.
And if I may, there is also Brie van der Kamp.
She's not from Paris. Do you know her?
No.
Brie Van from Desperate Housewives.
No, I was. Sorry, I missed. No, sorry about it.
Okay, but good reference, Louis. Yeah.
If I can add, you're welcome. If I can add, there is the Museum of Cheese on the Ile Saint-Louis. Museum of Cheese is here.
Where you live.
And for the vegan cheese, it's not made out of oils or like industrial stuff. Huh? Mm-hmm. It's made out of vegetables. It would be like beans or like chickpeas, stuff like that. And they are not that bad. Huh?
Okay.
And third point, Emily in Rome. Come on. Are you kidding me?
No, it is. It's what are you doing, guys? Netflix. This is not good. Anyway. Emily in Paris stays in Paris. Okay. Anyway, good cheese cannot go. Well, it can be eaten by itself, but with a little bit of red wine is also. It's a good idea. Cheese and
bread.
Wine. And bread.
And bread.
There you go.
And
cheese,
the good bread.
Wine, and good bread. Perfect.
And
the baguettes. Exactly. We already talked about it a bit about being healthy and so on when we're French. So when you buy your grocery, where do you buy it from? Like, do you go to markets? You know, there's a concept in France that is the markets. Every week, every city organizes a sort of a market where actually producers, farmers buy their own product. So do you go there or do you buy your stuff from the grocery shop?
Yes, personally, I love going to the markets. I'm going to every week, to be fully honest. And I buy my fruit, my vegetables, some meal, fish sometimes. And,
so you never go to the supermarket?
I go to the supermarket to buy other stuff, let's say.
Like non-perishable products.
Exact. Yeah. But I love the markets because I know the people who are selling the product, and I know where the products are coming from, and it's important. And I also like discussing with the vendors and so on. So it's always nice. I really enjoy seeing the product and having this discussion and this connection, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's also because I'm not from Paris. Initially, I'm coming from the south of France, and I was always used to go to the market when I was also living in south of France, and it's something that I kept with me when I arrived here in Paris.
Oh wow! Okay, so you buy your meat, your fish, your cheese, your everything from the market. Yeah,
everything which is let's say fresh and which can be bought at the market. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's my preferred option.
Okay, what about you, Louis?
Yeah, I do my groceries online.
Oh, is it common in Paris to buy groceries online?
I think it's only common for the people who are lazy. So
and you are lazy.
I guess so.
Well, fair enough. I mix both, as you, Marine. Well, the market is something that is pretty new for me because it's mostly on Sunday morning.
No. Now I'm going on Friday evening. So you have Friday evening also.
Yeah, Friday evening I'm usually busy, and Sunday morning I'm usually sleeping.
It's Friday starting at 2 p.m. on Friday if you want, until 7 p.m. So you can.
Oh, okay. Okay, so after work on Friday. Okay, that's a good point.
Friday evening I'm like dead from my week. I cannot move anymore. So.
No, it's the motivation because on Sunday morning
this is complicated.
It's complicated.
But I'm trying to force myself.
But it's a good option.
Because it's a good option and you buy really good stuff. And I'm trying to make an effort and wake up in the morning of a Sunday and go to my market.
But you know, on Sunday it ends at 1 p.m. I think.
Yeah.
So you can go between noon and 1 p.m.
I wake up at 1 p.m. on Sunday.
No, but
sorry for you.
I think Patrick wakes up at 5 in the afternoon on Sunday. So.
Well, Sunday. It's Sunday. It's.
But it's Sunday. I mean, 1 p.m. You should be already alive.
That's why I'm making an effort. Okay, I promise. I'll be making an effort. I'll be going to the market on Sunday. My neighbors are happy with me because they go every time, and they encouraged me that I'm going with them right now. Okay.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk about a topic that is also important for us Parisians and French in general, and especially Parisians, and that I noticed as a difference when I traveled and when I worked abroad, which is the lunch break. So do you guys have lunch breaks when you're at work, like you have a serious lunch break, or do you grab something to eat and you eat it in your office or in front of your screen?
Personally, for me, it's impossible to eat in front of my screen. You know, in French offices, the majority of employees, they are taking a break, minimum 45 minutes. And if you can, usually it's more around 1 hour. And you can have several options. If you have the possibility to have a kind of restaurant internally at your company, then you eat, you have lunch there. But if you're like me, if you don't have any internal restaurant, then you go outside to grab some food. And usually what I see from my colleagues and also myself is like we never really buy sandwiches. We always buy something which is cooked or a salad, so kind of a true meal, I would say. It's not like we don't like sandwiches. It's good, but sandwich is like, it's something that you eat very quickly, just few minutes and so on. And in a normal day, let's say, we like having a break at least during 1 hour to take time to discuss with your colleagues. So it's something which is important for us.
1 hour at least. There's this lunch break, because usually the lunch break is followed also by a coffee break. We have lunch, and then just after that we have coffee. And if we combine both steps together, we're at least at an hour and 15 minutes to between 1 hour and 1 hour and a half. What about you, Louis, at your workplace?
A minimum 3 hours of lunch break. So
aren't you pushing it a bit too much? Especially that your company is an American company.
Yeah, my company is also an American company. Huh?
Oh, I'm the only one working for a French company, guys. This is shame on you.
Oh my God. Shame.
No,
I'm just kidding. As it's an American company, we only have 3 minutes for lunch break. So
no, but even if it's an American company, on this we don't
there is
negotiate.
No negotiation possible.
No negotiations. Even my French company in the US, Americans tend to eat like their own habit, like very quickly in front of their screen. But when I was in the US, I worked for a couple of years in 2012 and 2013, and we built a cheese plant in Brookings, South Dakota. And while designing the plant, we designed the cafeteria that is really a central area in the plant, so that we make sure that we have, when we were building it, we were making sure that we're spending an hour and a half for a lunch break, and we were bringing our American colleagues to eat with us, and we were trying to implement this habit. And they got along, and they really loved this habit, and they adopted it, they enjoyed it, at least when we were still there. Now I don't know if they still do it, but they understood the fact, and they that it's actually a moment of the day where you can sit down, discuss with your colleagues on something that is different than work, enjoy the food together, and spend some time and have a real break, and then you can start your afternoon all fresh and rested and ready to go for the afternoon. So yeah, definitely it's something that we really do as French people all the time, and it's actually sacred.
It's like a kind of the same. In my company.
I know. It's a really common thing. It's not just us three. It's really something that is common for French and Parisians.
In my company, we need to go outside to buy something, and there are lots of different restaurants when you can grab some food, a lot of variety. And every day, I can guarantee you at noon, there is always someone who starts to ask, it's time to maybe to go outside, maybe to buy something to eat. So what are we going to buy today? So it's really a true question.
It's a
starting at noon every day. Everyone is thinking about, yes, I'm going maybe to this restaurant today. Oh no, not this one, because we went already yesterday. So that's a true topic.
It is a true topic. Even when you start your week on Monday or Tuesday, you will have a lot of times the question of, what did you do this weekend? Where did you go eat? It's a real topic. People are interested, and it's because it's really a real social topic that people are interested in. Have you eaten this? If you traveled to that place, if you went to this area in France, have you tried this? It is definitely going to come up. It is definitely one of our main favorites topic to discuss at work, and also in general between friends and family. It is a social topic, and we really like to gather together and have a good meal, because it's not just for the food. Food in France and in Paris is not only to nurture yourself and to stay alive. It's a social activity first. So this is how we consider food and how we approach food in Paris and in France, I guess, also in general. Okay, when it comes to restaurants, do you go to restaurants as us Parisians? Do we go to restaurants occasionally?
I would say personally, occasionally, but it depends on the period. Sometimes it can be more or less.
Yeah.
It really depends, but I would say that it's very easy actually to go to a restaurant in Paris at any time. It's not something very wow. So you say, well, okay, let's go to have a drink or to go to a restaurant and to eat something. So it's a part of the normal life, I would say.
And you can have good food, good quality food at an affordable price. So this is the advantage of Paris, actually. So yeah, definitely. As far as I'm concerned, restaurants are much more frequent, are very, like in the week, out of 7 nights, I usually go at least 4 times at the restaurant in the evening, because I actually don't cook. I don't like to cook. I don't really cook. So for me, it is an important step of the day. But I feel like Parisians in general enjoy going out to the restaurant and eat there and socialize with their friends. In Paris, a lot of people, they have very tiny apartments. And in order to enjoy eating and seeing friends and so on, sometimes your only option is to go out and go to a restaurant, because the apartments are so small that you cannot really probably invite people over or be comfortable all the time. Okay, last but not least, talking about our habits, is if we want to talk about coffee, which completes the cycle of of eating habits. Paris is somehow between Italian and Americans. More towards Italian, I would say, but not to that extent, not to the extent of Italians and how Italians see coffee. How do Italians see coffee?
I think in Italy, if you take a coffee, they call it ristretto. It's a super, super short coffee, very strong. Extremely strong. And even for us in France and in Paris, it's really too short. The minimum size for us would be espresso. For Italian, Parisian, French espresso, it's too much for them. So it's interesting to see the difference between both cultures.
However, for example, the Americano for us French is also too much water and too long of a drink.
I really love cappuccino, long coffee, but as far as there is coffee inside, because I'm really sorry to say that, Patrick, to your listeners, but when I went to the US, and for sure, I took American coffee. It was more water than really coffee. It was something really strange.
It's coffee flavored water, actually. That's what coffee flavored hot water. This is what it's called.
Yes. And the way they are presenting the whole thing, and but it's a difference between
and that's
countries.
why I placed France in between the US and Italy when it comes to the strongness of the coffee. We like our coffee strong, not as much as Italians, but the American coffee is so light. I mean, sometimes I would drink 3 or 4 coffee mugs in the US to make the same effect. Okay, well, let's move to the third and final segment of this episode. We talked about vegan options with you already, Louis. Do you have anything else to add on this topic as a vegan in Paris?
No, I think it's not that easy, because when you go to a regular restaurant, most of the time there is no option for vegans. Okay. So maybe for vegetarians you have options, but not always. You know, if you go to a regular bistro or brasserie, they will have only like meat, fish, cheese, nothing without meat.
Oh.
And so
what do you do?
It's like it's not always very easy. Okay. So, but I know a few places that are very good and that are only vegan. So, for instance, I could recommend you to our listeners 2 places. One which is very good on the Sundays for brunch. Yeah. So it's like an unlimited brunch, and it's called Soya. So Soya. And this one is excellent. Oh, look, you can eat buffet. And my second favorite place would be Le Grenier de Notre-Dame. So this is right by Notre-Dame in like an old building. So these are places that can appeal to everybody, you know, even for the people who don't...
even for non-vegan. Yeah, of course.
And I think that just what Louis was just saying, it's very interesting, because I can guarantee you, if you travel outside of Paris, For example, when I go back to the south, for example, you have even less vegetarian and even less veggies options that you can find in Paris.
No.
So for me, I'm not a vegetarian and not a vegan, but I have the impression that in Paris you have a lot of options, even if it's not enough for Louis based on because he's vegetarian and he's vegan and so on. But when you go to other regions in France, it's clearly not the same proposition than in Paris. In Paris, I think it's quite normal to have vegetarians and vegan option. You know, last week the Christmas market opened at La Défense, and I bought an Alsatian specialty, you know, with potatoes and cheese
from the east of France.
And someone just behind me asked if they had a vegetarian option, and yes, they had, even in the Christmas market. So it's kind of, I would say, very normal, yes. But I can guarantee you that when you go back to other region, I take the south because it's my region. If you are saying to the people around you, "Oh, I am a vegetarian" or "I'm a vegan," people are looking at you like you feel like you are judged. You're
an alien.
But you are strange.
There are vegan options. There are some gluten-free options as well, etc. It's a big city.
And if not, you can still buy churros because these are always vegan, my friends. So
yes, and with Nutella, maybe you can.
So
I love the way you started the episode with you being healthy and wanted to eat healthy, and the croissant, no. And then at the end of the episode, you're suggesting churros and Nutella.
No, I never said that. It's Marine who said that she wanted to be healthy.
I heard you.
We tried. No, I said I tried.
Okay, while talking about fat, let's talk about fast food.
Good transition, Patrick.
So just as a precision, and this is what we were saying, fast food in general in France was not something that is common, right? It's something that is not, I don't want to say new, but it's recent, and it's not very popular within the French community, let's say within the French people. However, this is why fast food companies today, they do suggest in their menu, like for example, if they suggest a burger, every once in a while you will find a burger with like a Monster cheese, or a burger with Cantal, a burger with a kind of cheese that is coming from the countryside or from a very specific region, or or beef coming from a specific region, or chicken, or they would do like special menus, special offers with local produce and local products that they integrate in their menu. This is how they're trying to adapt, because if they don't, I think that there would be nobody that enters their restaurant.
I do not like the fact that they are trying to upgrade fast food. You know why? Because I think it's a cheap way for them to make a lot of money, because they take like something that is so simple to make, you know, like a burger and even sandwich, you know, and they try to make them like upscale.
Yeah, right.
But for me, it's just laziness.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah.
From these so-called chefs. If it were like, I don't know, like 15 euros or 15 euros for a burger that was upscale, okay. But now it's like 20, you know, for something that is so easy to make, you know.
Exactly.
Like, then just buy the stuff yourself, like of good quality, and do it yourself at home, you know.
I agree.
Like, it would taste even better, and for, I don't know, like a quarter the price, you know.
I agree. You're completely right. To wrap it up, food in Paris is more than just eating, right? It's a way of life. Do not go to these restaurants that sells you French food and Parisian food that are extremely overpriced just because you have a view on the Eiffel Tower. These places are not recommended by the Parisians. Okay, so this marks the end of this episode and the end of this season. Yep, it is very sad. Thank you very much, Marine, for being...
Congrats, Patrick,
yep.
for this season.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being in the last episode.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yep, thank you, Louis, also for being in this last episode. I'll be recording a 2-minute outro, by the way, of the season in December. So you can check it out once it's up online. However, meanwhile, keep eating. And keep in mind that if you liked this episode, you could subscribe to my podcast on the platform you're listening from, whether it's Anrami, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Spotify, and YouTube. You obviously know all of this by heart now, 19 times later. You'll also find all the information on my website, patricksaeg.com/patenkscast. Also, please feel free to send me some feedback on this episode or on the podcast in general. If you have anything to add on your own experience with food in Paris, for example, that would be a good idea. It will be a pleasure to read your comments. Last but not least, Penguis, I will see you in December for the outro and in 2025 for season 2. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.